Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Podcast Strikes Back. My name is George and you're listening to the weekly movie show with the boys Connor and Benny. Like the new intro?
I liked it. I like the punctuation.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. We have an amazing, I'm telling you, amazing show ahead. It's going to be wild. Avengers Endgame, box office updates. It's absolutely crushing. We have also some news about Phil Lord and Chris Miller, and they're doing a little deal with Sony Pictures. Plus, we've got a fair few trailers to catch up on as we missed last week because we reviewed Endgame. And thank you so much to everyone who has checked that out. It's gone absolutely wild for us. The YouTube review has done extremely well. So for all the new subscribers tuning in, for all the new listeners, for everyone that's checked it out, thank you so much. It's really cool for us, and nice to see it tip the needle a little bit, right?
We're millionaires now.
I mean, don't tell them that.
It's entire cents rolling in every week.
You had to pay me $100,000 just to sit down here today.
You're a hot commodity these days, man.
I told people at work, just wait. I'm seconds away from sending that email, just that massive fuck you to everyone.
I'm a YouTuber now.
I may have prematurely sent it.
Updates LinkedIn.
I really need this to work for me.
So yeah, thanks everyone. We're going to get into the first part, the phase one of today's episode, what we've been watching. Who wants to go first? I'm going to go first. Fuck yeah.
Oh, I was going to give it to
Fuck
Ben.
y'all. Fuck y'all. So I decided on Saturday evening to go buy some tickets for Endgame at the IMAX. Oh.
At the IMAX?
Oh. So there's two IMAX. So the one in Darling Harbour in Sydney's closed down, but the one in Hoyt's entertainment quarters, there's two there. Wow. Holy fuck. Like I know this might sound like hyperbole, but this is the way to see the movie. It is insane. It's like unbelievable. So just as a little disclaimer with Endgame and Infinity War, those are the only two films ever to be shot 100% in IMAX. So it's like, that's a very good reason to go check it out. It looks amazing. It looks crisp. You're wearing the 3D glasses. The 3D is way better than the normal 3D. Way better than the normal 3D. Is
there an option to see it without 3D?
Possibly. I couldn't. There was no sessions available when I booked tickets. But like some of the shots in there is absolutely insane. And there's one particular shot that sticks in my mind, which is, you know, when Tony and Nebula at the beginning floating through space, and you are just like you're in the screen. It's really quite hard to describe.
Do you like 3D in general?
No, I don't.
Okay, yeah.
I don't. So
You've never said a good word about 3D.
Seriously, highly recommend this. I think so. That's 3 viewings.
What do you think made it so special? Was it the IMAX or the 3D or a combination of both?
It's this. If you're in the right spot in IMAX, it takes up your whole peripheral vision, and the 3D just brings it right here in front of your eyes. It's quite interesting. It's different to going to see a normal cinema session. So definitely go see it. I've seen Endgame 3 times now in the cinema. I'm probably going to call it a day there, because Infinity War, I think we saw that 4th one, and I was like, I'm good.
I think you and me were on the same number of screenings. That also might have been because of the lackluster, the fact that we paid like $50 or $60 for that last one.
Yeah. The Russos, man.
Love the Russos.
What about you, Benny? How many Endgame screenings have you clocked in now?
I'm still on 3. I've
3.
Bit of it traumatized by my experience watching it 3 times in 17 hours.
You needed to sleep for like 3 days.
Yeah, I've pretty much been working since then as well, so I do want to get in one more. But that is probably going to wrap it up for me, and that is less than my 6 for Infinity War for whatever.
What about you, Connor? You at 2?
I'm at 2, so I rewatched it this weekend.
Nice.
I'll get into that.
Yeah, killer. I'll just rattle off a few other ones that I watched. I've decided to go back and watch Iron Man. Really interesting experience, and shows you how far the MCU has come. Shows you how far we've come in terms of movie making. The ability to like get the CG work. It's just come so far.
And yet, we still have not fixed floating head syndrome.
No. Well, I think we did in Endgame, but definitely not in Civil War. That's for sure. And the level of sexism in this, like you would just not see some of the lines in this, some of the sequences in this, you would not see in a film in 2018 with a Disney logo slapped on it. There's just no way, and it shows you how far things have come in terms of just some things in society and the way we treat people, and it's very subtle, but it's like it's really interesting.
Scenes, or are you talking about the stuff that's purposely put in there to make Tony Stark seem like a bit of an asshole, or is it like kind of stuff around that?
Yeah, sort of like, you know, like the strippers on the plane, the Middle Eastern bad guys, the way he speaks to some people. It's just, I don't know. It's just not the way you would do it these days. And I think you said, Benny, it feels like a film from another era. That's my sentiment as well.
And from another, owner. Like this was before the Disney buyout, so I think that is a little noticeable as well. But there's definitely stuff that they just wouldn't do at all nowadays.
And another interesting thing, more so from just like a sort of like a societal level, Iron Man 1 has a really great origin story. Like the front half of the film is good fun, man. The back half of the film stinks. It's terrible. Like all the stuff with Obadiah Stane.
He just goes insane.
Man.
His plan is to just beat him up on a highway.
And they're just like, they just didn't have the budget or the resources or the ability to make what you can do with stuff these days. Like you compare Iron Man to Endgame, it's just incomparable. Anyway, that was a very interesting film to see. I haven't seen it in a very long time. Also chucked on Civil War. Oh, it's been about 2 years since I saw that. What a killer movie. Directed by the Russo brothers as well, but it has such a distinct flavor to Infinity War, Endgame, and Civil War, more so than I'm referencing more so the cinematography. Like Civil War, particularly that opening sequence, it's like really handheld, it's really zoomed up, like it's very kinetic, kind of in-camera, real-world physicality to it, which I love about that film. And then you compare that to like Endgame or Infinity War, it's a lot more wide out. You see more characters in the frame. So it's just cool to see like a pair of directors be able to like kind of tailor the look of the film to, I guess, the overall story or the vibe. And that's clearly an Avengers film. Clearly. A couple other ones I watched. The Big Sick, which is a comedy film that I've been meaning to watch for a very long time. Highly, highly recommend this. Kumail Nanjiani is fantastic in this. It's a true story. You guys have been telling me to watch this for a very long time, and I completely understand why you said great recommend there. And had that Judd Apatow, 40-year-old virgin, knocked up, funny people vibe that I really love. And I miss that style of comedy. So I think this one hopefully brings in a new wave of that.
Awesome showcase for Ray Romano too.
Oh, man.
However, like 20 years after his show.
I absolutely love that it's a true story about Kumail Nanjiani. Like that's his story, which him and his wife wrote, I believe. And they got an Oscar for it, didn't they?
Yeah.
Best screenplay or something like that.
Makes complete sense.
Yeah.
And finally, I also watched The Director and the Jedi, which is a bit of bonus content. You call it bonus feature? Bonus content?
Yeah.
I don't know.
that all works.
Yes,
I don't know.
We will call it
I'm having a brave fart there. It's about Rian Johnson directing The Last Jedi. And it's a really, really interesting look into the process. And that guy like just had he could do whatever he wanted in that film, for better or worse, whether you believe it or not. It's just interesting to see his process and how much he's like a small little child. He's like giggles and he's so earnest and he really cares and he really wants to he's got a lot of love for Star Wars, and you can truly see that in this. So that's a really good watch.
Why did he ruin the franchise then? Why did he burn it all down?
I don't know. I just don't know.
We'll never know.
It's whether you're a fan of The Last Jedi or not, it's a really good, really, really well put together documentary. That's me done. Benny?
Cool. Well, I'll be sharing these ones with Connor because we've been keeping up with Game of Thrones, the second biggest thing in the world right now.
GOT.
So since we last talked, there's been episodes 2 and 3.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because we haven't talked.
A Night of the Seven Kingdoms and whatever the last one.
The Long Night, I think it's called.
Yeah. And that was... So the second episode was one of my favorites of the series so far. Certainly my favorite since the series took what some people consider a sort of a dip.
Yeah. It's gotten a lot of mixed reviews, at least from what I've seen.
I'm talking about the second episode.
Yep. And I'm totally on board with you. I thought that was such a cool episode. I mean, the criticisms aren't wrong. Like, not a lot did happen realistically, but I really love the setup. I love the idea of it, and I love how this season seems a lot more contained. You know, previous seasons have gone, you know, all across Westeros.
It's because it is contained, because all of the characters are in the same place.
One place, yeah. And
or dead.
Like 3 sets, exactly. And they don't go anywhere else in the Seven Kingdoms. They really just focus on the kind of the situation that these characters are in at that very moment. I thought it showed a lot of restraint.
And then episode 3, we got the biggest battle ever committed to television.
I don't like how they keep comparing it to Helm's Deep.
Of course.
It touches a nerve for me.
Yeah, Gandalf didn't even show up there. That's bullshit. Spoilers. Yeah, that was dark stuff, man. That was a dark episode, and by that I mean literally. I could not see anything happening in the whole thing.
This is so interesting. I kind of I didn't have a chance to read the whole thing today, but I glanced at an article where they were talking about why it was so dark, and that it had to do with the lighting and outside, and they didn't want it to have an artificially lit, you know, look, which just meant that you can't see anything. Well, I was reading, this is very realistic.
Apparently it's the most expensive radio play ever made.
Yeah. I believe it, actually. No, apparently there's a setting that you can put your TV to make it a lot more, you know,
it's called
visible.
max brightness.
Yeah, it's basically what it is.
Negative color.
Yeah.
It was good though. It was no spoilers, but it was there weren't any real surprises to it, I thought, but it was
supposedly they shot that over 54 nights.
It's a lot of nights.
I believe it, because there's a lot of
footage.
There's a lot of footage in this, and I mean it is pretty big.
They're covering a lot of ground on it. Yeah,
it's almost an entire movie that's just one battle.
Yeah, it's about 80 minutes long.
Yeah.
Where are you guys sitting on that one? Did you enjoy episode 3?
Just an entire ball of stress. That's all it was.
It was decent.
Yeah, I think that I don't know. I think they did for what they had to work with. I think they did a really good job of making a battle 80 minutes, because when I think about that, I think, oh, yeah, okay, I can only watch action for so long. So I think they introduced a couple of good little dips where you could almost breathe and then get back into the action. It certainly wasn't as what would you say, as brutal as I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
With also being like, it's just a lot of stress, a lot of mood. Yeah. That was nearly a sentence.
And I guess that's all I've watched for 2 weeks.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I'm sleepy. I don't remember. if I'd watched a bunch of other stuff, I don't remember it. It can't have been amazing.
3 screenings of the Endgame in 17 hours has done a doozy on you, mate.
Give me that torch, because I've watched up a storm this week. Oh, boy.
He's taking the mantle.
Some of it's not going to be very surprising to you, but I will give it the caveat that I was catching my girlfriend up on some movies that I have seen, but she hasn't.
Justified season 1? Starting again?
No. I'm leaving that live for a while back. The first one that I would not have gone back to this, but girlfriend wanted to see it. Just putting that caveat out there. Baywatch.
The 2017 one?
Yeah, which I think you watched recently, didn't you?
I really like that. It's terrible, but I enjoyed it.
That's exactly what how I put it. One of the reasons I didn't want to watch it was like, I'm going to have to say this on the podcast with like what we watched this week. And
don't have to, you know. Yeah. You can leave stuff out.
Too much integrity.
Fucking say everything.
Yeah, look, it is a terrible film, but it's just kind of so non-consequential that you're like, this is a good time.
It's a perfect Friday night, fuck around, like beers, pizza on the couch kind of.
My Friday nights are more important.
Yeah. It is a pivotal night, George. Yeah. Also watched John Wick 1 and 2. Once again, introducing the girlfriend to those. It's kind of bizarre how good John Wick 1 is, even now. Like it feels like the movie that never should, but somehow did. John Wick 2, for me, was never going to live up to the hype of 1. And I suspect that that'll be the same with 3. It'll just kind of, the series will progressively go down and down.
John Wick 1 doesn't live up to the hype of 1. That movie peters out to a degree, I think.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, so you definitely saw a distinct difference in quality between those two?
I'd say so. Like it feels like the first one is taking all the great things from 1 and just giving you more of that.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, in theory seems really good, but I think that's kind of the main failings of sequels, which is we want to evolve with the story. We don't want just more of the same. And I think that, it does evolve a little bit, but not enough to really make it better than the first one.
Cool.
And it doesn't have the novelty factor. What else did I watch? Obviously, I watched Endgame for the second time. That was a much needed watch. I think that everyone should watch Endgame at least twice.
100%.
Because there's so much going on. We did our review like an hour after I had watched it for the first time. I don't even know how I was as coherent as I was. Like,
seriously,
that movie, there's so much to think about. There's so much to kind of, to kind of place in order. So the second time I watched it was really good. We will have a follow-up, I guess, question episode that should be live now. Go check that out because we address a lot of the things that we kind of missed in the first one.
And a lot of your questions from the comments.
Yeah, only the nice ones.
You guys get involved.
What else? I watched Blade Runner, original Blade Runner. Another one that I was introducing to the girlfriend because I want to introduce her to 2049. That one is, I think every time I watch that, I feel like I enjoy that movie a little bit more because there's things that you miss. There's little subtleties, and especially when you're watching it with someone that hasn't watched it before, you want them to get all the intricacies of it. So you're like trying to look for them and point it out and be like, oh, do you see the unicorn? And that's what this means and that.
Yeah.
As always, the super rapey scene is weird to watch. Yeah. You just watch it in the context of the time, I suppose. You're like, huh.
The 80s, man.
I guess that was a thing.
What, 2019?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I guess that's okay. Yeah, that shit does not hold up.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it's not as bad as some of the movies from that era. So it's got that going for it.
It's pretty fucking bad.
How, for somebody who who hasn't seen it before, what was the overall take? Because it's quite an esoteric film. It's not your typical 3-act structure.
It was one of those things where I couldn't tell if he was just being like, yeah, that was really good. Because I was like, how good is this? Yeah. He was like, oh yeah, it was lovely.
Yeah.
I hated it when I first saw it.
Oh yeah, but you would have had to watch it for the same reason that I did, which is for school.
It's the worst.
Yeah, watching it in like 6 different segments of, having the teacher pause and be like, what does this mean? Like, I don't know. Death of the Author.
In his house.
Fuck off.
I totally forgot I've watched 2049.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Fuck, man.
Yeah.
That is such a killer movie. Like, it is one of the most crisp looking films. And then I also watched a bit of the behind the scenes stuff, and it's all physical sets. All of it, man. And it will hold up for a very long time.
Yeah. That movie impresses the hell out of me. So that's probably, we can talk about that next week when I've watched that one. I've got a few more actually. Watched Disney's Robin Hood, the Fox one. I don't know, was that from the 70s, 80s, something like that? Nice. Often, I don't know. I looked up some reviews on it. A lot of people hated that film, but I've got nothing but.
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
For me, that's massive nostalgia. Like, that was a big one that I watched as a kid. So I have nothing but love for that film. And finally, I watched Mad Max.
Fury Road.
That's such a for me, such an awesome film to just chuck on and be immersed in and kind of, have to watch it with like big sound and big
TV. Did you get the sound bar lined up?
Yeah. We weren't watching it on your TV, George.
You didn't watch the Chrome version? You watched the OG version?
No, I think I watched the Chrome version about a year or two ago. And for me, that was kind of...
bit gimmicky.
Yeah. I was like, I guess, fine, whatever. But
the yellowy, saturated look of that film is so part and parcel of the aesthetic of it.
And they do so much cool stuff with just the look of the film, like the color, like the actual color of the film. That scene where they're in that dust storm with the tornadoes going around,
that's
it's so cool to see the contrast to the lightning where everything goes black and white, and then to see all those kind of like bright oranges and reds come out. I think that it's too gimmicky, and it does a disservice to how good the color version is. Yeah,
I'm due for another rewatch of that. It's been a while.
I could watch that movie daily.
Sorry, one last one. Sorry, Amazon Prime Guava, which is Childish Gambino's new movie with Rihanna.
Okay.
It's like a 50-minute thing or something.
50-minute film. It's exactly what you would think that, you know, Glover and Rihanna would put out there. It's, you know, very cool, very artsy, features a lot of the music that he's releasing about the last year or so. Kind of this, it's not a music video. It's not a straight up, you know, feature movie. It's, I don't know. It's just something that's kind of really cool. If you've got a spare hour.
An art project.
To go chuck on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like a pretty cool project because I believe they're releasing an album. So it's sort of like this multi-faceted music visual project. So it sounds very cool.
Yeah. It definitely feels as though that there's a lot of love poured into this by both those artists, which, you know, it's such a fine line between kind of wanky and genuine. And I think that they just kind of tip it on the side of genuine.
It's cool. I love that there's people like him and other young people out there just kind of attacking the boundaries between all of these different forms
He's
and
older
media
than Rihanna.
and stuff.
I don't know why that surprised me.
Yeah, isn't Donald Glover like 54?
Yeah, he's 54. Anyway, on to the news, yeah?
Yep.
On to the news, yeah?
Strap in because we got a fucking doozy here. Avengers Endgame has opened to $1.2 billion globally, shattering Infinity War's record of $640 million. That is almost double the highest opening weekend of all time.
Crazy.
Like, we all knew this shit was coming, but not to this degree. This blew past projections and even the raised projections that came out after it started selling tickets.
I read that and I genuinely had that moment of, oh, that's wrong. Like, you know, I've read it wrong or they typed it wrong or something. Like they meant, you know...
Million.
1.2 million.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's like Hellboy numbers.
Oh, no. Hellboy wishes.
Yeah.
That fucking blew my mind. That didn't make sense.
I think that it's a testament to that marketing campaign that they did. It was just built the hype so perfectly. My only concern with this, and maybe I'm jumping the gun a bit here, is it going to peak really early whilst Infinity War had a bit more of a slow burn? Not that 641 million in the first weekend is a slow burn, but will Endgame eclipse Infinity War in its overall haul? Well, I'm interested to see where it turns up.
Here's the thing. We're looking at a movie that has 96% on Rotten Tomatoes, 92% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, A+ cinema score. Wow. This is a movie that has legs. Yeah. Like, people are watching this multiple times, obviously, with these numbers. And these kind of numbers, this kind of hype, this is what brings in the people who go once a year. You know, this is what brings in that tertiary crowd that
this is an event.
Don't bother with movies.
Totally.
This is Infinity War made $2 billion overall. This is at 1.2 after like 4 days.
Yeah,
this is going to be the highest grossing film of all time.
Do you reckon it's going to be? It's going to be.
It's going to knock Titanic off, guaranteed. So Titanic is at number 2 on what do we got? 2.18 billion, and then we have Avatar at the top, 2.8 billion.
That's huge,
which is a big jump.
That's huge.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know what to say. If anything is ever going to do it, this is it.
That doesn't compute in my head. Most movies would be thrilled to hit 1.2 billion over their entire life cycle at a theater.
Aquaman, for example.
Yeah, like that's such a huge success for so many films.
What is it, like 20 movies or something?
Aquaman, highest grossing DC film of all time, 1.3 billion. Boom.
That, I mean, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, even if you look at Marvel has been, or Captain Marvel has been doing really well at the box office. Everyone's saying how good that is. And like, they have made more in their opening weekend than Captain Marvel has made in their entire run. That is fucking bizarre. Like, I don't even know how to compute that in my head.
Just a quick side note for our steak dinner. Captain Marvel hit number 2 in the box office in the US, and it's at 1.111 billion.
I saw that. Yeah, I checked it today.
So I got it in the bag, bro. I got it in the bag. If it was end of April, if it was end of April, that would be...
It basically has to make 10 million in the month of May for you to be... good to go.
This past few weeks have been the Wheel of Fortune wheel, you know, when it's just stopping, and you two are just the last two ones there, and it's about to tick right over to you, Georgie.
But who would have thought, like, Fortune. I mean, for anyone that is kind of wondering what the hell we're talking about, we made a bet before Captain Marvel came out, and we did a Wheel of Fortune style bet?
It was definitely not
right.
Price is Right, sorry. I don't know. I don't watch those things.
I like Wheel of Fortune.
Really?
No.
When was the last time you ever watched that?
15 years ago.
Price is Right style, where we bet on what they would, you know, what the total gross from Captain Marvel would be. The condition is at the end of May is when we count it.
And global.
Yeah. Ben, you said 700 million?
900.
Or 900, sorry. So anything over 900 million up until one of our guesses is yours to take. I said 1.1.
No, you said 1.
No, 1.1.
And I said 1.125.
Yeah, you snake.
Did you say 1 or 1.1?
I think it was 1. It was 1 point something. It was 1.1.
Because we said 1 billion. We said it at the same time.
Yeah.
1.125 billion.
Son of a bitch. I still can't get over that. But basically, the point I was making is, how crazy is it that we're actually like, it's really close to what we thought. I thought it was either going to blow way past what you said or not even come close.
I should have won based on the quality of the film.
You've really soured on that, haven't you?
No, I'm not saying it's terrible, but it should have been closer to my estimate.
It probably should have.
I don't think that movie should have broken $1 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Shazam should have done better than that one.
But yeah, man,
I'm not bitter.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Are we going to steak dinner if Avengers Endgame will beat Avatar?
We could discuss this another time.
Another time? Okay, we'll figure that out.
Yeah, so this goddamn movie is the reason I'm so fucking wrecked right now, because as many of you know, I work in a cinema. So I've just been steamrolled for the past week or so with this movie. It's destroying the world of theaters. There are cinemas all over the world that are not closing. They're open 24 hours a day for this movie.
I heard that.
Because the demand is there. They're playing sessions every 15 minutes.
They're like, the Disney Plus is coming out. This is the last time. We've got to make that haul.
This is it.
Yeah. The next one of these is on TV.
How nuts is that?
Yeah. I mean, I just think that even Feige would have been like, I mean, what were they projecting this was going to hit? Fuck. I have no idea.
Well, it really quite, the opening weekend was projected like the higher with like maybe it hit 300 and it hit 350 million.
Right.
So it just really blew past everything. It's like so crazy how you just can't predict when these things are going to explode like this.
Crazy.
Any more on Endgame for now?
I think our 20 questions after Endgame episode is a good spot for people to listen in.
So I personally cannot wait for all of the responses from the Marvel team, the Disney people, about this stuff. It's just starting to kind of flow in now. But one thing we have heard from Feige very recently was that Marvel's Phase 3 will officially conclude, not with Endgame, but with Spider-Man Far From Home.
Very interesting.
That's a kind of a bizarre way to end it. I mean, that's how Phase 2 ended with Ant-Man after Age of Ultron or Civil War or whatever. Civil War.
Why do you think they did that?
I don't know. Maybe it just doesn't fit in with Phase 4 the way they want it to.
Yeah. Well, it makes me more curious about Phase 4 than it does why they did it at the end of Phase 3, if that makes sense. Like, Phase 4 must be something unto itself if they're going to go to the lengths of not having Avengers Endgame be the end of that era.
And
strictly speaking. Yeah,
I think there's also something interesting here. Like, forgive me, but I can't remember if Marvel has announced any Phase 4 movies right now and release dates. I don't think we have a single release date.
No release dates, I don't think. Guardians 3 did have one, but that obviously had some issues.
Yeah.
But they've announced a lot of movies.
But I mean, like, what's
Black
coming
Widow
out
has a movie.
2020 right now for the MCU?
2020.
We've got nothing right now.
Lots of TV shows.
Lots of TV shows.
Eternals, maybe?
You know, I want to go to the movies and see my MCU. I need it. It's like a drug, man. Like, I'm a little bit, I hope, you know, they've got a million things that they're going to announce, but you know, I hope that they still have as much focus on the cinema as Disney Plus.
I think it could be incredibly interesting if they take a year and step back.
Okay. There'll be so much hype for when it comes back.
Well, that's my point, right? Like, if they, you know, sometimes less is more, and I think that there may be some sense in saying this is the end of an era. Let's take a moment to catch our breath and then jump into Phase 4.
And I mean, Star Wars is the perfect example.
I was about to say that, yeah.
Where they did exactly the opposite of what you just said.
Apart from those two massive breaks in between franchises. But yeah, I know what you're saying.
The Disney era, I should reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Solo and you know, Rogue One, and making sure that you have a movie every single year. So these are no longer big events. And Yeah.
And there's so much in the pipeline for the Disney Plus MCU shows. Like, it's not like we're not going to be getting MCU content. Whoa. But
cat is wreaking havoc.
The cat's going mad.
He's going for the water bottle now as well.
Don't spill that on the computer, boy.
Seriously. He's like staring at you, be like,
yeah,
he's come back
up. So yeah, I'm just worried. I like my cinema sessions with the MCU. So
yeah,
what will we talk about?
Yeah,
so interested to see what these TV shows are going to be like. And speaking of which, Elizabeth Olsen has teased a 1950s aesthetic for WandaVision, which is written here as Wonder Vision.
It's me.
It's a better title than WandaVision, certainly. So yeah, she just said she saw an image. It must have been some concept art or something that looked like it had a 1950s vibe, which could be hinting towards something akin to the recent Tom King Vision series in the comics, which was about the Vision. He had a family. They were all kind of synthesoids like him, just living in suburbia. A really awesome idea for like what's essentially a superhero comic, because it's not about superheroics at all. It's just about him kind of finding his identity and living with his family. Really interesting stuff. And I really hope they do go for something a bit more out there like that, like apart from all this kind of world-saving nonsense.
I mean, after watching Civil War, I think there's so much to tap into there. I would love to see more of that character explored.
Vision's so adorable.
Boy, what in the fuck? Holy fuck.
We need a camera on that area.
Oh my God, that was so...
I was just watching George calculate how much that cat, how much that cat is going to cost him. Like, oh, those are expensive. Please don't.
$15,000 speaker, boy.
The night's still young.
Oh no!
King of the castle, king of the castle. We should take a picture. Somebody take a picture of him and we'll put it up on the Instagram stories. This is an excuse for everyone listening.
My iPhone storage is full. All right, Ben, that's on you.
Oh, I'm reading the thing.
No, you did the news. Don't worry about the
cat. Next up, still in Marvel's corner, Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, also known as Marcus McFeely, explain why Daredevil and friends never showed up in the movie. Spoilers.
Why are there two names there?
Yeah, sorry, I'm sorry to break this to you, Georgie.
That's annoying me.
That's one person. Why does he have two names? Georgie?
So this was one of your complaints in the...
Was it a complaint?
Not a complaint, but...
You would have liked to have seen the Netflix Marvel characters turn up.
I thought they might have, but they didn't. Spoilers.
They sort of said that...
That is genuinely a spoiler.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it is. It is that it isn't.
Yeah. Look, we know that everyone in the world has seen this movie by now.
Yeah.
The thing is, what their rationale was that everyone is familiar with Valkyrie and Iron Man, and within this cinema-released MCU, everyone's across that. And if you turn up, you bring in Jessica Jones, you bring in Daredevil, their rationale at least was that they were unfamiliar to this cinematic MCU.
That is some bullshit.
Get rid of them. Send them back to Netflix.
That's stupid, man. Howard the Duck was there in the battle. They didn't have a problem putting him in, obviously.
Do not question Marcus McFeely.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, fair enough.
That laugh is such an unsatisfied laugh from Ben. Be like, okay, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, Daredevil wasn't a big deal or anything when that came out. All right, next up, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, favorites of the show, have signed a 5-year, 9-figure deal with Sony Pictures Television to develop a Marvel TV universe for the SUMC. That's the Sony universe of Marvel characters. 1 second, 9 figures. That's in the hundreds of millions.
One more than 8.
8 figures, that is true. Let me check your math on that. That is correct. Yeah, this is...
their kids are set. Their grandkids are set.
This is huge. Apparently, they were a really hot property. A lot of different... people were kind of bidding on them for a deal like this. They were previously with Fox and for like 9 years, and they've moved on to Sony now. This is really great to hear because that's some justice in the world, man. Everyone knows that these guys should be the hottest commodity out there. Even though the last thing on their CV is them getting fired off a big Star Wars Disney movie. Yeah. So it's great to hear that there's a little justice right here. Yeah.
So this is the SUMC, because I didn't realize, I thought this was the Spider-Verse. I thought
it is the SUMC, isn't it? Oh, wait, Spider-Verse as in, like the actual Spider-Verse.
So it's everything. It's Sony. It's not even just Spider-Man stuff.
Right.
So they're
Sorry, I mean, I guess the Venom stuff, the SUMC versus the
animated Spider-Verse, yeah. So I think their work on Spider-Verse would have certainly helped their stakes here. But so this is them. The duo will develop live-action comedy and drama series as well as animated shows through their Lord Miller Productions company.
Nice.
Is anyone listening to me?
Yeah.
There's cats over there.
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys talk
You're
now.
not doing it for us, man.
I mean, as you said, man, like, you know what? We talked about it so much, and it's funny to kind of revisit that headspace that we were in pre-Solo before all the fallout happened, where it was like, you know, Solo, I don't want to see that movie, but I want to see Lord and Miller's version of Solo. Yeah. So to see them get an opportunity and some fucking cashola, I'm happy, man. I just want to know specifically, you know, 9 pictures, what's going to be that makeup, you know, 4 in the SUMC, 5 in the Spider-Verse. You know, I would like to know that breakup.
I don't think that's a thing.
It's just going to happen.
No, they haven't said what they're doing exactly. They're working on TV stuff.
I would like to know more about it.
Totally, yeah. We don't know anything. Like, presumably there's going to be stuff with the Spider-Verse characters, possibly, like animated stuff. And then also, of course, you know, there's Venom, Morbius bullshit, which, I mean, that's a huge thing in their corner for that series that is just kind of limping along at this point.
But they're producing, they're not directing right now.
Well, they'd be doing whatever they want.
Okay.
With the TV episodes, I have no doubt they'll be directing probably a lot of pilots and stuff.
Shit, man.
Yeah, which is great.
It's tantalizing.
I really hope that Sony gives them enough free reign that they can kind of create what they want to create. Because I think that was, you know, as we mentioned, the biggest problem with the Solo debacle is that, you know, they brought on Lord and Miller, who are notorious for just kind of doing their thing, and then they were somehow surprised when they didn't follow the script. So, you know, hopefully their new overlords are a little bit more cued in.
If only they'd had like an exact replica roadmap of that situation with another massive cinematic universe that worked out for the same company. If only there had been a way. All right, we done with that one?
Yeah. Bring it on.
Alrighty. Finally here, in some of the worst timing ever, at some point in the last week, we had a Bond 25 launch event.
Who is in their PR team? Fire them.
The Broccoli family is...
Fire them.
They got to give this character away. They got to be done after this one. So I'm just going to run through some information about Bond 25, which I'm sure we're all super excited about. Daniel Craig, Lea Seydoux, get your cursor out of there. Ray Fiennes, Naomie Harris, and Ben Whishaw are all returning from the previous films, as well as Jeffrey Wright reprising his role as Felix Leiter from Casino Royale. Rami Malek will be playing the villain, with Ana de Armas also cast, and it will be filmed in Jamaica, London, Italy, and Norway. We also have the First Man cinematographer Linus Sandgren, who will be shooting the film partially in IMAX.
Details.
A lot of details.
Bond
Except for one notable detail. Did you catch? No title.
Yeah.
No
Which
title,
is quite helpful when it comes to marketing. I'm not the marketing guy. You are, Georgie, but I think that would be a real big one.
I would say so.
Pretty sure that the entire job of that marketing and PR organization is to just stop Daniel Craig from talking to the press. Just literally someone following him at all times and any time the microphone.
Mr. Craig, how much do you want to kill yourself this time?
Daniel, pretend you're enjoying
a
things.
lot.
Pretend.
He seems to absolutely love throwing this franchise under the bus.
I think he has a real, I think he goes through this cycle where he finishes a film, he hates it, he waits 6 months, the excitement starts to boil up,
and then they offer him a check, and he's like, "I'm excited."
I was gonna say, he remembers that he enjoys money, and then you go,
he's blown it all on whatever Daniel Craig
emoji, dollar bag emoji.
God, that has got to be one of the weirdest kind of relationships with the franchise I think I've ever seen. Maybe Ben Affleck with Batman is maybe comparable.
Not even just with Daniel Craig. The whole franchise stands so alone in that it's completely owned by this one family. Like, they control every aspect of this shit. I mean, that they are why I think Danny Boyle left the project originally because just kind of clashing with them because they have so much ownership over this thing. You guys interested at all in Bond 25?
Potentially.
I always have hope because I really love, like, there's some absolute jewels in this franchise that I think, show that it can be really good.
And this will be his last one, definitely, Daniel Craig.
I think that, where it goes after that will certainly be interesting. I really like Daniel Craig as James Bond, but I feel that it is probably time to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I think Bond is going to struggle without. He needs to reinvent himself because Bond, in his womanizing, the spy thriller thing, it's not like a super hot property. Like that's not I'm not seeing an abundance of films come out with a sort of Bond vibe.
I mean, if you're in marketing or if you're in kind of PR, then this is probably a bit of a hard sell given the environment now.
So it needs like the next iteration needs to be wildly different, I feel.
You know what I watched? I think only about half of recently. Was Die Another Day, the final Pierce Brosnan one with Madonna.
Why?
That is a killer track. Die Another Day.
Yeah, like that super like 2000s-y. I actually do love that song.
I love that song, man.
Probably a lot of nostalgia clouding me, but I don't hate that movie. It's easily my favorite Pierce Brosnan one just because it's so batshit insane. Like there is not a dull moment in that film.
The paragliding.
Oh man,
the wave.
Like the surfing, man, it is insane.
The car scenes are pretty cool on the ice.
And Brosnan was definitely past it at that point. Like
he didn't give a fuck.
Physically, I don't know. Yeah.
He's wheezing.
Yeah, I found the other kind of Brosnan ones to be a little boring, but that one is nuts. I hope that Daniel Craig gets a fucking nuts one here because they've been trending towards a lot more of the kind of campier Bond elements as these films go on.
Yeah.
So I say this one, if they're not going to capture the quality of the Casino Royale or Skyfall, just go nuts with it.
Yeah.
That could get me in. And bring back Rosamund Pike. I know she's dead, but I love her.
Yeah. That's all I've said for the last 3 minutes. Yeah. I agree.
What time is it?
It's trailer time.
Trailer time. All right. So we've got quite a few. We've got 9 trailers to go through, so we'll try and be concise. First, perhaps foremost, is Men in Black International. This, I'm slightly resentful towards this property because I'm still in my head thinking that we should have gotten the 21 Jump Street crossover with Men in Black. I think that would have been hilarious and great and wonderful.
It's so unfair to hold something against the movie, like something that never happened and never would happen. But what else can anyone think of? Except that amazing idea.
Yeah, it's a real shame. But the trailer itself, I feel like maybe I wasn't here for when the last trailer came out, or I've just haven't talked to you guys about this. I have no idea where you guys stand with this.
I think this is the best trailer I've seen yet. I didn't like either of the other ones at all, but I feel like this franchise is past its due date. It's so in the 90s for me, and I'm not sure if I'm seeing enough recontextualization, reinvention here. I don't know. It's just not quite hitting me where I need it to.
But there's a woman now.
Whoa.
So you have to love it. I stand by what I said before is I think that this would be perfectly suited to a TV show. I don't know
Definitely, man.
Men in Black is really, it's due for another big movie. Like I don't feel like that's where this franchise should be going right now.
That's actually a pretty cool suggestion because you could get more into the underbelly. Like what I loved in that first Men in Black is when Will Smith goes and speaks to that dude and the little aliens in his head. You know, like all these aliens living these aliases, living these other lives. You know, that's what really what I really responded to in that first in Men in Black. In this one, it's so huge. They're going across the world, massive sequences. That suggestion of a TV show, that to me seems like a really good avenue for them to go.
I want to address both your points quickly. I think the one strength of this trailer, and I don't think there's many, I don't think this looks very good at all, but I think it does actually kind of capture that Men in Black thing of like all of these aliens living in plain sight. Like kind of refugees and stuff. Like there's so many points in this trailer alone where you see like someone who just looks like a normal human and they're like, oh no, that's an alien. Just right there, which is at least an interesting thing that seems pretty unique to that franchise. And also I think a TV series would be a really cool idea for that franchise because it would really fill that that kind of niche that we had with X-Files for like 10 years and then Supernatural for like 15 years, and then we could just pick up right there as well and keep going with that.
Did either of you watch the series?
Oh hell yeah! That is like, I think the first Men in Black film was an absolute masterpiece. I think the Men in Black series is like the definitive version of Men in Black, though. I love that so much.
Cartoon,
the animated series, back in the day, like the late 90s.
Hemsworth looks like I'm enjoying Hemsworth, and I'm enjoying Tessa Thompson. You know, she did so well in Annihilation. She's great as Valkyrie. I want to see her more. It's nice to see her in these high-profile roles, but I hope the script's there to give them enough to work with, because they're both so talented.
Yeah, I don't feel the same kind of chemistry that I saw in Thor Ragnarok, which is, you know, obviously where those two are from. For this, it just doesn't, and you know, it's a trailer. How much are you going to actually get from a trailer? But I don't know. There was something that was really great about seeing them in Thor Ragnarok, and maybe that's the direction, maybe that's the script. This one, it just kind of feels a bit flat.
Hemsworth looks like he's in so much trouble of falling into that crazy bland pretty boy role that he was, you know, in danger of slipping into with the first couple of Thors before they really found their character. And, you know, he's not had a lot of successes outside of the MCU, so I do not think this is going to be it.
I hope they use him well outside of the MCU, because, you know, the MCU has shown that he's got a fair bit of range. Like, he's really brilliant, I think, with comedy. And I would really like to see that exploited outside Thor. Exploited. That's probably not the right word. Exploit him.
You've been paid enough, buddy. Now act.
Yeah.
Words, aren't they funny?
Fingers crossed. Yeah, I can't think of a single other film that I like Chris Hemsworth in.
Ghostbusters, love him in.
Haven't seen it.
Yeah. Oh, you enjoyed him in Cabin in the Woods.
That I did.
He's good in that.
That I did.
There you go.
Of course. Of course.
I'm there for you, buddy.
Yeah. You got my back. This is a change. Like,
what's happening?
Connor's got my back. Fuck. Benny, stay away.
I'm coming for you, buddy.
Next, we've got Gemini Man.
The good things in this, the music.
I was about to say, loved the little soundtrack.
Actually,
slow cover.
I'm a sucker for it.
This is my least favorite use of a sad, slow cover in a trailer ever.
Ever?
I hate it.
Yeah. That's hyperbole.
That I can think of.
I know it's such a trope to do that sad, slow song in trailers nowadays, but it gets me every time.
It's the electronic style that it has.
The synth
really kicked in for me.
Yeah, it did not like
So it has one of my criticisms of the MCU, because as we know with this podcast, it all has to come back to the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
That's why our name's Star Wars.
Yeah. The Pod Man.
Oh, God. One of my main criticisms was some of the de-aging or the actual aging, I thought never quite looked fantastic.
Really?
In certain parts.
Michael Douglas in Ant-Man 1
is decent.
It's fucking
but
good.
there's like points in that. So I'm more thinking in was it Civil War with Peggy? Like, I hated that. That it really annoyed me.
Winter Soldier.
This trailer has given me a new appreciation for anything that the MCU has done with aging or de-aging, because this looked fucking weird.
Well, that's because this is a completely different process. Young Will Smith in this is a completely digital character. There's no aging or de-aging on him. Yeah, he's a completely CGI creation, which I don't know, I wasn't paying attention the first time I watched this trailer, because I just watched it before coming here, and I was like, yeah, wow, I can fucking see that.
Really? Okay, I saw that on my phone. I did not pick up that.
Well, then...
I put it up on my TV.
It was on my phone, so I didn't see it. All right.
I need to get defensive. It's fine.
Did you at least have the phone sideways?
No.
No,
I didn't. Just sitting there. This looks great. He was just listening to it. He didn't actually watch the trailer. He's like, this soundtrack is fine.
I actually quite like the different looks of Will Smith in this.
Well, I love that the young one has the Fresh Prince flat top.
Yeah. Maybe my 90s nostalgia kicks in too hard.
I really hope DJ Jazzy Jeff shows up as his sidekick.
Uncle Phil.
Oh, he's dead.
So nothing about this interested you guys?
I like the premise. I like the people attached to it. The CGI aside, I think that this could be like one of those. You don't invest too much in this film, and you get a little bit out of it.
Yeah,
sweet kind of popcorn Friday night movies.
It could even be one of those sort of like B-grade sci-fi films that I really seem to gravitate towards that has a few little kernels of fantastic stuff, but then it doesn't quite resolve. And
this will be something that I'll wait for it to come out on Netflix and chuck on, and then probably be pleasantly surprised and express that when I talk about it.
It feels like a little bit of a throwback in that way, probably because they have been trying to make it for decades, waiting for the technology to catch up.
What is it based off a book or?
I'm not sure.
Or some bit of parchment.
yeah.
Old Sumerian story.
It's actually a Bible story.
Like runes.
All right, number 3 on our trailer list. I can't believe this wasn't number 1. Hobbs and Shaw, the single most bonkers, bananas, crazy, batshit insane trailer I think I've ever seen.
I was watching the first half and I was kind of like, wow, I'm kind of impressed. They've kind of scaled it back. It seems more in camera. You know, it's kind of like the physical fight, and then
and then like the heavy shit comes in, and
then The Rock's doing like his Captain America thing, but he's holding the whole helicopter. Right. I was like, don't fucking copy the MCU.
I want more context on that scene because it does look like he's carrying 6 cars in it. And I swear to God.
How much would you pay to see The Rock get torn in half in this film?
Literally what I was just thinking. Like this.
Just limb from limb.
Vin Diesel went in editing afterwards and was just like, oh, poor Rock.
I gotta come clean. I actually haven't watched this trailer.
Oh, seriously?
I don't know why this movie in particular, but I was just kind of like, I want to save it for the cinema. Because it's such a spectacle, weird thing.
Yeah.
I have seen the bit where they're going through the 2 hallways, which I thought was hilarious. And I was just reading today that apparently Keanu Reeves is going to pop up in this.
Yeah,
so I'm like, man, my ticket's already sold, so I'm there.
Yeah, I mean, this trailer it kind of blows my mind. And every time I think that they're taking this franchise too far, I end up watching it. I'm like, I loved it.
Yeah,
it's such utter nonsense, but I love it.
It feels nice to also have a bit of a fresh take where we don't have the whole gang back. Like, it's just these 2 dudes. Yeah. So
I can only watch Tyrese Gibson so much.
Yeah.
Before I just.
I also I thought it was interesting that the haka bit at the end. Like, you know, The Rock, you know, that shows him really injecting his cultural, you know, his Polynesian background, and he's obviously got a really heavy hand in the production of this film, which I guess he always does. But it was just cool to see that.
What was the other movie he did that in recently?
Moana?
He's a soccer coach or something?
Oh, that was Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, wasn't it? When, you know, he's got his daughter in
Makes
his
sense.
Soccer game? I don't know.
I couldn't remember if that or Skyscraper or Rampage. Or
oh, it's all in there somewhere. Number 4, we have Dark Phoenix.
What's number 5?
Godzilla, King of the Monsters. No, let's at least spend a little bit of time talking about this.
X-Men Dark Phoenix. Oh, sorry. Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, so it's just Dark Phoenix in the States. In other territories, it's X-Men Dark Phoenix. Because we're not smart enough to understand that when they circle the X on the Dark Phoenix at the end.
It means...
I thought that was a target.
I thought it was dumb international people.
Dark Fienny. Dark Fienny. Okay, put it this way. Let's go for positive. CG work in space looks really good.
It's very polished looking.
Yeah.
Looks really polished.
They know this is their last go.
Yeah. The effects around what's her name? Sophie Turner. They look good as well.
I can't actually put my finger on what I'm not liking about this. I guess there's nothing that's really impressing me, or like there's no hook that's very interesting, and maybe it's my history with X-Men Last Stand, and maybe it's that.
It's got, well, I mean, it's got to be a combination of a bunch of things. The last X-Men movie, real X-Men movie was, oh God, I can't even think of it. Apocalypse.
Oh yeah. Why did you remind me of that?
Yeah. Well, I mean that's a major thing. Like that's their last go at this, and that doesn't leave a good taste in the mouth.
Yeah, so it's not hard to not be excited for a sequel to that.
And I mean, they've already tried this storyline before and failed miserably.
And it looks like they're doing it again, and it has the same writer who's directing this time.
Yeah, like it's just, I don't understand what they thought was going to change.
It's got a lot against it. Apparently had a lot of reshoots too. Apparently the whole third act has been moved from space to the train that we see in the trailer.
Yes,
so I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, no, like there's just, I mean, it's probably a better question is what would you look forward to in this?
I thought Jessica Chastain gave a very credible performance in the 2 seconds she was on screen compared to most of these young actors.
There was a line that really bothered me. and I can't remember what it was. This trailer's done absolutely nothing for me. It's the only trailer that I've actually dreaded having to put on. It's like it's an effort. It's only 2 minutes of footage and some music.
So many of them too.
I mean, why? Like, I don't know why it was such a drag, but like, fuck, I did not enjoy a second of this.
I'm keen to check this out.
I'm keen to rip into it.
Yeah. Can we do a retro review of Apocalypse?
No, we can't.
Yeah,
let's do a commentary.
I need so much alcohol. Like so many
I
alcohols.
will provide it.
Let's do a commentary because I don't want to actually just sit and watch that fucking movie. I want to tear it apart as it goes.
What are you doing?
Learning. All right, moving on. We've got Godzilla, King of the Monsters. I don't know why I am super keen for this though.
They're the Titans.
Yeah,
they're returning.
Just this movie just looks like utter destruction porn, but I'm so interested in the visuals of this. Like they just look so crisp to me.
Yeah, and the scales there.
Yeah, they feel like big monsters, and I don't know. There's something about this. Plus, they had a slow, sad song on it, so I was sold.
I think they're so big as to be just a little like who cares. I don't know. There's something about the only one of these giant monster movies that I really liked over the past few years was Rampage. I think that all scaled down in that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of know what you mean.
And this one looks like it's taken things to the nth degree. Like they're like mountains, just with like almost gravitational pull to them.
I kind of like that though.
Yeah,
in a way,
it's definitely interesting. I'm so skeptical about this movie. I just really refuse to be pulled in. But I'll be there day one to judge it.
Yeah, I am. For me, I really like they said it in the trailer about how the size of these monsters just kind of make humans realize that this is their world, we're just living in it. But I got that sense with the scale, like that to me kind of conveyed in the visuals, and I don't know. I'm really interested by that concept. It might not be enough to carry an entire film, which we kind of realized in the last Godzilla film, but yeah, I'm just very keen for it.
Also, Serge, last name from System of a Down, did a cover of Blue Oyster Cult's 1977 song Godzilla.
Is that his name? Serge Tankian?
Serge Tankian, yeah.
Which
is a killer?
I don't like it very much, but I just love it in concept. I love Blue Oyster Cult. I love System of a Down. I don't know if they mix together perfectly.
His solo stuff, some of that stuff is real fucking weird. Yeah. Particularly his like the stuff that's not in his albums or anything.
Yeah.
Like some of the just go on YouTube and look Serge Tankian up and like
in his spoken word poetry. Dude, he's a true artist, that guy.
Yeah, that's
like
one word
he's
for it.
just pumping out artwork and like creative expression, whether it's good or bad. But I love him as well.
He lives in New Zealand, doesn't he?
Does he?
He loves New Zealand. I was going to say something. Something.
Was it insightful?
Oh yeah,
and
more cowbell.
Oh,
okay. Moving on, we have number 6, which is Child's Play.
Chucky.
You're the Child's Play guy?
Apparently.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good title? Is that on your Instagram?
That should be my title now,
yeah. Call it?
Yeah, that's on my Tinder profile. Well, no, that isn't.
No!
Got his mic!
Oh no!
Next trailer.
So
uninstall.
It's one of those things where you sent a text and you've seen it go and be like, oh no! Only I could.
I think this looks like kind of a fun little horror movie. Looks like it's taking a big different direction than the original.
Well, it's AI, isn't it?
That's the thing, yeah. And this trailer to me suggests that maybe there's more going on here. Like it might be about an AI uprising about this entire line of toys, which I think could be kind of nuts and fun.
Yeah.
I like they're doing something different with it, considering that the original series is still sort of running.
I'm very interested to see whether they will, I guess, incorporate a supernatural element to this, to kind of keep in with the originals. And if they do, I think that's really cool, like supernatural mixed with AI. I also think that it's interesting to do straight AI, but I don't know. I feel like that would be a good mix, like to kind of go with that horror.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I feel like that if you add a little bit of edge to it or something interesting just to make a little off center. Like that will make this work really well. I'm liking the look of it. I'm liking the aesthetic.
Do you like the look of Chucky?
Yeah, what does it say? Bugsy or Bubsy on his shirt?
Buddy with
Buddy.
The little eye, like
yeah,
you know, like
it's a Z.
iPhone.
Oh right, yeah.
Apple. I like Mark Hamill, and we finally got to hear the voice. So that sounds good and not exactly like the original.
Let's see how we go.
Cool. Number 7, we have 21 Bridges. Black Panther is
saving
in New York.
the day. This is a film. This looks like a film that would have come out in 2004.
It does, doesn't it?
Like June, July 2004?
Maybe September. But
we're in
that little bubble.
Yeah, this is Russo brothers, isn't it? Though
produced,
yeah, and has Chadwick Boseman in it as well. I think that's the only reason that this is getting any kind of attention, to be honest. The plot seems pretty straightforward as that kind of, I don't know, cop investigation, middle of New York type thing.
I think it's a very promising kind of thing for like a kind of crime actiony thing. Like I like that idea of like this kind of bottle thing, this story.
I'll be interesting to see how much they use the gimmick of, we're shutting down all the bridges and how much that really plays into it. I kind of feel like they could overdo it. Like there's a clock, ticking off and, we've got till sunrise to open up the bridges or something like that.
Yeah, like it seemed like quite a big move for 8 cops going down. I was like, okay.
You got to protect their own, man.
Fucking shut down 4 tunnels. Congestion of 25 million people that live in New York.
Yeah.
What the fuck? These are our heroes. They're our heroes. I don't know, man. I'm just not quite seeing it here.
Good to see Chadwick getting some space though, because he got done dirty by some Avengers movies lately.
Yeah, I hope there's enough in here for him because, as I said, I just feel like this is. You don't see these types of movies anymore, and it seems like it's sort of 15, 20 years too late. Direct to DVD, kind of, as I said, September 2004.
It just feels like in the vein of those big crime epics that, like you said, we don't see too often anymore. We kind of got a taste of that with like Widows last year. I think there's a real room for that kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel like Widows though had a very sophisticated edge that this doesn't necessarily have.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We won't because we're not going to watch it.
Are we not?
We're not.
How do you know?
He has spoken, George.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely not.
I'm watching it now.
You'll watch it on Netflix.
Out of spite.
Yeah. And you'll tell me to watch it and I won't. This is how this is going down.
Damn, you know us so well, Ben. Second last, we have Swamp Thing. DC Universe Swamp Thing.
Yep, straight to the streaming service.
Yep. Which is not $25. Just thought I'd mention that. You owe us a steak, by the way. Just thought I'd also mention that. Yeah.
We need to tally him up.
We do. Yeah.
There's some steak to be distributed.
Do them all in one night.
The steak distribution.
Just throwing steaks at each other.
Steak fight.
You had to eat it raw.
What'd you guys think of this trailer?
Doesn't look great.
The only promising thing is when the Swamp Thing is chasing her in the lake. But that looked killer.
He looks cool. I think it's good.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
There's a couple of things in this that kind of hooked my interest. The way that the trailer is put together in general looks awful. Like just whoever cut this trailer and put the music to it was very rushed. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they're good at what they do and they just didn't have time to do it. But yeah, I did not like the way that this came together. There are some cool little scenes that, kind of made me think that this could be interesting.
Looks like there's a bit of a horror edge to it, produced by James Wan, which is cool.
It coming off the table in what I'm assuming is the morgue looked a little bit interesting. I like how the way that there seems to be little branches or vines kind of weaving in and out, and it's part of it. Like that's pretty cool. But yeah, as a trailer goes, it's subpar.
So that is not surprising at all because they're sort of in damage control right now. There's a lot of behind the scenes word that this thing is just fallen apart from the inside. Apparently they've cut the episode order short. I think they just ran out of money or something. So of course they couldn't do a proper trailer. But like there was some kind of rumor that the series was just imploding completely, and that's when they released the first teaser just before this, a tiny little one. So yeah, I don't know what they're doing with this, but
how drastically different is the launch of Disney Plus compared to this DC streaming service?
We don't know yet, do we?
Well, I mean, you know what I mean. Like how like
it's going to be very different. Yeah. They never had. I don't know. The DC streaming service was an odd choice. It should have all been folded into whatever Warner Brothers is going to release. Like,
that's
the whole thing, you know, because I think it is going to get folded in eventually anyway.
We know my opinions on that. But yeah, I think that they've narrowed it down too far. Like it's who's going to buy an ongoing subscription to just DC?
Like I agree with you.
I would probably have it if it was available here. I would definitely have it actually because they have all the comics on there as well. They just added like the entire comics library. Which is fucking
That's
awesome.
kind of cool.
Really? Yeah. Oh, that's kind of, so there's multiple mediums on this.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's interesting, yeah.
And if
Wait,
this series,
all the comics?
A massive collection of it, yeah. Like I think whatever they have available elsewhere. If this series is set in like the Titans universe, I'll definitely give it a go anyway because Doom Patrol is really cool as well.
Did you finish that?
Titans a Netflix produced?
It's a DC thing, just outside of America, wherever they don't have the DC streaming service. It gets picked up by Netflix, I think.
Oh, okay.
Far through Doom Patrol,
3-4 episodes.
Cool.
5 episodes.
Is it good?
6 episodes. I don't know. Everyone loves it. I'm a little cooler on it, but I really want to just wait until I've seen the whole thing to give it a word.
We'll wait for 6 months before we jump onto it, George. Yeah. That's the general way that this works.
Is it on Netflix?
Not
Netflix?
Yet. I think it will be eventually, yeah. Because, Netflix only does full seasons.
Yeah.
It's not out yet.
Yep. Coolio.
Cool. Finally, we have The Boys.
The Boys.
Amazon Prime.
The 8th trailer for The Boys, which doesn't come out for another 3 months or so.
Oh, man. Carl Urban, dude. Like, I love you. Don't do this.
He don't love you, though, George.
Don't do this.
I think this has promise.
No, I don't see anything in this that tickles my fancy at all.
This to me seems like they are going for gratuitous. Just gratuitousness.
Definitely, the comics are horrific.
And I hope that that's not what they're expecting to carry this, because I think that if there's so many films and TV shows that think if they extra gritty or extra dark or extra violent that's all they need to do. Like that's enough to get someone hooked and to keep them going. And
case in point, Hellboy.
Yeah, like I just find that such a subpar way to create something. Like just to think that I'm gonna get bums and seats with this over the top thing.
It would work much better in this format than in like a Hellboys type movie, though, when you rely on people to actually come to cinemas. Because something like this, if it would appeal to like that younger crowd who can actually see it,
I
like
think
an R-rated movie.
Even a YouTube series, like 2-minute sketches, like I could get behind it for that. But to get extended episodes with this,
I'm not saying it'll work. I'm just saying at least it'll be available to the people who want to see it. The 12 to 14-year-olds.
I just think that the gimmick of what they're going for here will work. It would work in smaller bite-sized chunks rather than 8 episodes, 20, 30, 40 minutes episodes.
Look, if there's something beyond the gimmick, then I'm absolutely fine with that. I think that it can work. I mean, look at Tarantino films. Those are, grotesquely violent. But there's more to those films than just the violence. The violence is kind of comical and it contrasts with an enormous amount of just plain dialogue and tension and all that. Like there is artistry in the way that, the grotesqueness of the violence is used. But like you said with Hellboy, it's just like, hey, look how violent we can be. Come and watch our thing. And you're like, eh. So we'll see.
Well, that's the trailers, guys. Let's finish off with question of the week. Got an awesome one here from my boy Drew Torres. Thank you so much, man. And if you guys have a question, don't forget you can hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, or in the YouTube comments. Here's the question for this week. Are there any dormant franchises you'd like to see return to the screen? Not the big screen, the screen.
Put a little caveat in there just because you've got one in mind.
Yeah, should I kick this off?
Yeah,
I've got two actually.
Think of mine.
That wasn't the question. No, it was the question.
This is a bit of wiggle room here in this answer, but Neon Genesis Evangelion is an anime that I really love and went to workshops in the late 2000s, early 2010s, somewhere around there. Had a lot of work with concept art and trying to get this project going. and it looks so cool. And I just want to see live action version of this. I want to see this on the big screen so bad. This might possibly be my favorite TV show ever. I just think like the concepts and the world building and the scale is so out there. You know, now we've had things like Endgame, Infinity War. You know, that this can work. This can really work.
As long as they do the bit where Shinji masturbates on Oscar when she's in the hospital bed, that would seal the deal.
Don't bring up my favorite scene.
Jesus.
Whoa, that is so scary, man. Oh, a balloon just appeared in that window.
Hiya, Georgie.
Holy.
It's like, the fuck is going on?
I gotta face my back to that all night, right, guys?
Yeah, well, we won't add that scene into the script, Ben.
Well, then I don't want to say it.
So that's definitely one. And then another one, this is a bit of a cop-out, but X-Men, I want to see that in the MCU. I want to see it revamped. I want to see it rejigged. There's so much potential in X-Men. We've seen it in Days of Future Past. We've seen it in X-Men 2. Let's go for round 2 or round 8, however, from whatever perspective you see it.
Yeah. Alrighty, I'll jump in next. This one is an obscure as hell one, but it's something from my childhood that always stuck with me for a long time. You know, one of those cartoons that were a dime a dozen back then that was just made to sell toys. It was a 14-episode 1988 run called Dino Riders, which was just like a little fantasy sci-fi series set in a place that's not our world, not our time, and it's just about these two factions fighting each other. They're warriors riding on dinosaurs. The bad guys are all these weird kind of mutant dudes. They've got their own dinosaurs. Any idea what this? You ever heard of this?
Maybe. Let me have a look at some art.
Because only the visuals, I'm sure, would rekindle your memory. But yeah, it's just this tiny little thing that kind of always stuck with me. And I've always just wondered like why this has never been brought back. It seems so tailor-made to be popular with kids or something.
Fuck, this looks awesome.
Yeah, really cool toy. Yeah, just like, you know, armored dinosaurs with guys riding them and fighting.
It's like Transformers.
Yeah.
80s vibe.
Transformers, Ninja Turtles, He-Man stuff, G.I. Joe. Yeah, I don't know. I'd love to see him do something with that big animated movie or something.
Yeah, I mean, get that level of Rampage CG polish.
Oh, man.
That'd look killer.
Dinosaurs are so underrepresented in cinema. You've had one good franchise that's not good anymore, and that's about it. It's a bummer.
Where you sitting, Connor?
I really struggling with this one.
King Arthur. They keep trying, but it's not working.
I think for me, most of the ones that I'd like to see on the big screen, for better or for worse, are Dune is one that popped to mind. That's coming up.
The way.
Lord of the Rings, which has always kind of held a special place in my heart, for better or for worse, is continuing on. I literally just had one in my head, and it's just popped out
like a balloon.
It was an actual answer. Mother.
Oh well,
that's really frustrating. Just give me 2 seconds. It'll come back. Oh no! Because I know what's going to happen.
Is it Dino Riders?
Yeah, I know what's going to happen. As soon as I stop, it's gonna.
We'll edit it in.
Oh, this is like I'm so close.
My answer is.
Yeah, look at the camera, cover your mouth, and say it.
Was it fantasy?
Oh, no. I know what I was trying to think of is something that I was talking about it today, and it's a kind of film that you don't see put on the big screen that often anymore, and that's Westerns. And in particular, the spaghetti Westerns, the Man with No Name. I have I just have a fascination with that character, with that storyline. You know, the man coming into a village and helping the village and then buggering off. I mean, one of my favorite films or older films is Seven Samurai. Really love that kind of style, and I love how that was adapted into the spaghetti westerns that most people recognize. I think a revisit of that could be very cool.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, it definitely does need to kick up the arse because that Western genre is awesome. But yeah, that one, the Magnificent Seven. God, that was god awful.
We've got another Chris Pratt, Ethan Hawke Western on the way.
Oh, do we?
As well, yeah. I maintain that they must have shot it while they were filming Magnificent Seven.
Yeah.
It's got Vincent D'Onofrio in it as well. He directed it. Yeah, now it's come back.
Little side project.
Yeah.
Boys,
no, I
nip over here for a 5-minute shoot.
He's cranking his camera.
No, I was talking to someone to that today, and just westerns are they're so far and in between now. Like, just you can't find a good one.
A lot of great modern ones, like kind of not set in like all the usual trappings, just stuff in small towns set in modern times.
Yeah,
Some
like
really
that
cool
that
stuff.
kind of the general storyline of the Man with No Name is you can kind of see that in a lot of motifs in modern films. But it's just like a good western.
There we have it, guys. That is this week done. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on the podcast channels, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, send us some McDonald's. Just help us out, all right? We need help. We need a lot of help. Don't forget our 20 questions after watching Avengers Endgame episode is up right now. So if you're hungry for some more Endgame content, get in there. And also our spoiler review is up. 90 minutes of frothing on that film. So there we have it. We'll be back next week. Boys and Kana.
Bye.
Bye.
This is going at the end of the episode. Gonna annoy everyone.
I don't know. That didn't work at all.
No.